Fix It Tony here. Thanks for clicking on the video. I wanted to do a follow-up on the Burchda HC26. Sorry. So far, we've owned this bike for about 2 months now. Pretty impressed. We didn't get a whole lot of time to ride it. Actually, my other motorcycles showed back up, so we've been riding those. But in the meantime, we did ride this. I only charged it once when I first got it and have not charged it ever since. The majority of the riding on this has been in dual motor mode with about 15 psi in the front and rear tires, which is not optimal for fuel economy. For range is what I meant. But so far, right up until this light kicked on, so the last bar and then this light kicked on, it kept its top speed, which is roughly between 28 and 32 miles per hour, and we got 31 miles out of it, which is nothing to scoff at. That is a lot of range. I will tell you, this is the most range I've ever gotten out of an electric bike. And just give you an idea, that's when I go out to Ventura, those are from California, I was able to ride from Ventura all the way to Carpinteria and back, and that's only like, I think, right in the 20-mile range. So this bike would be totally capable of doing that. So that's pretty cool. I think it's neat to have that kind of range. The bigger battery is definitely paying off when it comes to that. And again, the headlight was on. All the electronics, were on when I was riding it, and I wasn't really pedaling. I mean, a little bit, but really not. And then I bet if I pedal a little bit more, increase the PSI to 20, 25, we'd probably get another 5-10 miles out of her. I mean, really 40 miles of range is not out of the realm for this. So what we're going to do next here is I'm going to put it on the charger and see how long it takes to charge it up. This is supposedly a fast charger. It's a 3-amp charger, so we'll see how long it takes to charge it up in case you do go on a long ride. If you go somewhere, take the take the charger with you, how long will it take to charge the battery up? That's a question I get a lot. I do want to go really quick to the modifications. If you look at the other videos I have, we did a big brake upgrade. The brakes that came with this bike were not, it is very bizarre. They put smaller brake rotors in the front than the back, which makes 0 sense on a dual bike motor. We went and upgraded to the 203 millimeter front rotors here. Not only look better, but it brakes dramatically better. To get a bag for the back, this actually comes right off and turns into a backpack, which I kind of liked because, when you're going to bring the charger or some water or whatever you want to bring, it's nice to be able to unclip it and take it with you, not leave it with the bike in case, an area where thieves are at, which in California is everywhere. So those are kind of the upgrades that we did with it. Some of the things I did notice so far also, the front rotor supposedly is rated at 750 and the rear is at 1,000. I think that's absolutely wrong, just with the power and the way that it delivers power. It has a ton of torque in dual motor mode, but in single motor mode, this is more like a 500 watt and a 750. I think they're grossly overrated, which is fine. I mean, on a bike like this, you're not going to be doing over 30 miles an hour. Even the bikes that can do over 30, most of the people who own them rarely go over 30 miles an hour. And the reason why is, it's the brakes, one, they're not built to handle that kind of speed. The weight, 2, and 3, you're usually zooming through a city, coming in and out of lanes and stuff. You're never really experiencing the maximum amount of power you can put out with, these high-powered bikes. And also, you also get a red flag on you because they are pulling people over and they are looking if you're exceeding 1,000 watts. And if you are, they're writing you a nice ticket. If you don't have a moped license, at least a M2, I have an M1 myself, and the plate that goes on this and a helmet, just expect, 1, to get a ticket, 2, not to be allowed on any of the bike paths. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you want to go that big, go get yourself a motorcycle. Like that's what you should do. Me, I like to adventure ride and stuff like that. So I like having a motorcycle because I like being on the road, but I also like, just being other places where those are not allowed. So not the dogs, the bikes. Anyway, we're going to put this on the charger and we'll timer and see how long it takes to charge her up. Okay, so as you can see, we're down to the battery light here. We went 31.3 miles, pretty nice. We have the battery brick here. This charges a little bit faster. Usually they're about 2 amps. This charges at 3 amps. This is a 30 amp battery. So in theory, this light should not have kicked on because we were still able to hit almost top speed even with this light on. So I'm guessing the withhold, you know, the bare minimum this thing will go down to when that light kicks on is probably about 3, maybe 4, you know, probably about 3 amps left in the battery. So I'm guessing 3 amp hours. Sorry for those who are particular about that. So I'm guessing we got to charge it up about 27 amp hours, which in theory should probably take about 9 hours. But, you know, right now it is 1 o'clock, and we'll see how long that takes, and that'll give us an idea of how much this battery took. Here, we're going to plug her in. This tricky little thing here. Oh, she don't want to go in. Where, you know? Oh, see, I didn't look at that. So there's 3 prongs, so you got to turn it until it hits the right prongs. There it goes. Didn't notice that before. So the display turns off when it charges, and you just get this red light here. So again, 1 o'clock, we'll come back in a few hours and see where we are. We'll unplug it and kind of see where that puts us here. We'll do the 1 hour test to start. Okay, fast forward 1 hour, it is 2:15. We'll go ahead and pull the plug here. We're still, of course, we're red. Pull our plug out, and we'll turn her on. We'll see how much that charged us up to so far. Turn on here. So we got 2 bars in 1 hour. Not too bad. We'll come back in another hour, see where we're at. One other thing I wanted to show here. So this is just the energy watt meter I hooked up to here. So it has about 152 watts. It should be closer to like after the, because this thing loses, you know, the efficiency is like 95% on these. So it should be closer to like 180. So this thing isn't doing 3 amps, it's doing more like 2.5 amps. So just kind of gives an idea of what's actually happening here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually reset this and reset how much we're going to get in the next hour here. And then when I go to the next reading, I'll know exactly how much power we put in. So I'll reset it to 19, and then we'll see how much kilowatts or total wattage kilowatt hours we put into the battery. All right, back at the bike. It's been about another hour. Go ahead and unplug her here. Now that's green when you unplug it. See where we are. So now we're 2 more bars. So it's been about 2 bars every hour. So I mean, it's about half charge. 2 hours puts you about half charge. Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you really kind of think of the math. I mean, maybe obviously there's, you know, as lithium batteries get charged over time, it's more progressive, and there's there's absorption rate, which is the first set of charge, and then the actual float charge, which brings it all the way up to 100%. We were still, actually I'm gonna plug it back in so you can see it here, because obviously it's gonna drop to 0. So I'll plug her back in, red lights. Take a look here. Still about 156.9, and I looked it up. It's about 90% efficiency, if this is one of the best, which it probably isn't, charging bricks. So it's actually probably only about 140 watts getting into the battery. So just doing some simple math here, we're only putting in about 140 watts per hour into this battery, roughly, is actually making it in. And this battery is a total of 1,440 watts. So that's a lot. So if we divide that by 140, we get about 10 hours for 100% charge of this battery, which is a long time. In 2 hours, we're technically only put 20% more power into the battery, which give us 4 more bars. But, you know, these aren't totally accurate. But again, if we kind of figure it out, if you're getting roughly about 10% every hour you charge it, and you get 30 miles roughly, you know, riding it the way I was, so about every hour you charge, you get about 3 to 4 miles of range would be my guess. So if you're out and, you know, riding around or whatever, and you're just going somewhere having lunch, you know, you charge it, you should expect about 3 to 4 miles of range being added as it sits on the charger for every hour. So just give you an idea of what that looks like. And, you know, we're going to let it charge to 100%. We'll come back to it and see what it actually took. Again, we're going to have to add some wattage and then subtract that, you know, the efficiency rating out of it to get what actual wattage we put into it to make this 100%. And they'll give us also an idea of how much power was left in this battery when that red light turned on. So we'll go ahead and give it some more time here. Okay, it is now past my bedtime, so 10:13. Let's take a look at our stats here. So we've been on this charger for quite a while. Amps, frequency, it's almost 8 hours now, plus an hour that wasn't on here because we put this on an hour after we started. And we're up to 1.2 kilowatts, actually 1.3, 1.4-ish. So this should be getting pretty close to being done here, because remember, we're 90% efficiency. We didn't do 1 hour. So even though this is 1.2, we're actually 1.4-ish right in there. And this is a 1.4 kilowatt battery, 1400 watts. So this thing should be flipping in a minute now. That thing is red hot. This is very hot. So this thing should be getting pretty close here. Yeah, see, it's only at 58 watts. We're in the float stage right now. So this is going to be done any minute now. The good thing is that we are pretty close to probably 1100 watts. Sorry, yeah, 1100 watts, maybe 1200 watts of charge power that we put into this. And it's a 1400 watt battery, which means that, again, amperage wise, about 3 or 4 amps left once the battery light turns on. So there's a little bit of a deep cycle, as you maybe would call it, left in the battery once it's all the way out of power. So we'll give this another hour, come back and see where we are. Alrighty, so let's see where we are now. Almost midnight. It's pretty much midnight. So this actually probably turned on a bit ago. I was actually distracted for a little bit, but we'll see what our current wattage is and what our numbers are here. So some more voltage going in. 9.5 hours to charge, and to put in 1.2 kilowatts plus the about 200 watts. It probably about 150 watts it did before. So put about I don't know, 1.1 kilowatts into the battery. So the battery capacity is pretty close, maybe a little overrated, but if you need to charge this thing up, you're looking at a good 8 to 9 hours to get it done. So please like, subscribe, share. We have more stuff coming on for this bike. If you'd like to see anything or have any questions, or if you know how to unlock the device, because right now this thing is not unlocked and it does limit the bike and what it's capable of. If you know how to do that, put it down in the description, share it with others. Otherwise, have a great day. Take care, guys.